All right. Let's start this day. What? What's the link to fucking Schumer? Rip. God damn, the turnout was underwhelming in some places. Well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? This is so retarded. You know what's the worst thing about this? There is a non-zero chance that Trump and Iran agree to a deal and that Iran violates the deal afterwards to recenter the negotiation. Because right now, they're winning so fucking hard, and by there I mean Iran. Well, the market seem to think that it's impossible to have a deal that retarded. Good on them. Can we have some fucking growth in TD, please? Like, stop doing the back and forth thing and just go up. Ah, shit. I sold this. Ah! It's not that bad. I made some pretty good moves lately. I'm kind of waiting to see with oil. If oil peaks a bit, I'll short it. Oh, Onyx is out. And I might sell my trust stock. What other moves do I want to do? Look, the big thing is, each time there's been a Republican in office, there's been like economic catastrophe coming with it. So I want a portfolio that reflects that. I want to be okay, shit goes down. Ah, you see, I'm the market whisperer. We're seeing growth. I just need to yell more. Womp womp. Should have shorted. Oh, good meme. Ah, not my EU brothers. They're melting. Okay. And what about us? Okay, I'm doing good. Fuck that. Okay, my BC brothers are cooking a little. What are we gonna do? Oh, that sounds like a thing that I want to read. Why natural gas? That's commentary. That's an opinion pieces, by the way. So don't put insane backing on that. Why natural gas isn't going anywhere in the US power system? For years, the energy transition narrative has pointed towards a future dominated by renewables and batteries, with natural gas eventually fading into the background. Yet, the evolution of the US power system suggests a more complicated reality. Solar and wind output is growing rapidly and capturing a larger share of electricity generation every year. But as power demands accelerate, driven by data centers, electrification, and new manufacturing investment, natural gas remain deeply embedded in the architecture of the US grid. The reasons are both practical and economic. The abundant domestic resources, a vast existing infrastructure network, unparalleled operational flexibility, and growing needs for reliable power around the clock. Together, they suggest that natural gas is likely to surrender its central role in the power sector anytime soon. Is unlikely, okay. So I misread this. Oh, okay, isn't going anywhere. Like, not going away. Okay, cool. I get it now. Some of this will be Canadian, so... The shale revolution transformed the country from a projected major gas importer into a world's leading natural gas producer. Massive reserves in the Permian Basin, Appalachia, Marcellus, and Utica formations, the Haynesville Shale, and other producing region provide the US with hundreds of trillions of cubic feet of technically recoverable gas resources and nearly 584 trillion cubic feet of proven reserve. Production continues to hover near record level, underscoring the depth of the country's resource base. That abundance matters. Unlike many countries that must import fuel supplies, the United States can generate electricity via a domestically produced resource that remains relatively inexpensive and widely available. This isn't Linux research. Let me start the fuck up, okay? I'm waking up. I'll read this, and after that we're doing fucking drama. For utility and policymakers concerned about energy security, that remains a powerful advantage. Pipeline primacy. What does primacy mean? Primary, preeminent, or more important. Okay. Natural gas also benefits from something that cannot be developed overnight: infrastructure. Over decades, the US has built an extensive network of pipeline storage facilities, processing plants, and power stations designed around gas production and consumption. The country already possesses hundreds of gigawatts of gas-fired generating capacity and a pipeline network capable of moving fuel from producing region to power market nationwide. Which map is this? Routers open interest gas pipeline map. Do we have a map of this? Gem. Oh, I kinda like this. Oh man, there's a projection thing, fuck me. Okay. Operating, proposed, construction, mothballed. Cancelled. Mothballed? The fuck does that even mean? Shelved? Stop work. Okay. Oh, but some of those are oil pipeline. Ah, okay. Ah. What is this line? Small one. Rah! Okay. The fuck does that mean? The fuck does feedstock even mean? Raw material. Okay. For ethylene production. What is that used for? Ethylene. With a faint, sweet and musky odor when pure. Okay, so it's just made to make plastics? Ah. Okay. Kinda cool. And what was the corporation taking care of that? Is that like public ownership or something? Probably not, but who gives a fuck? It's a Canadian corporation that operates transport and storage infrastructure, deliver oil. Since 2003, this has included ethylene storage at one location. Okay. What does it look like? Making money! Woo! Pakistan Petroleum Limited. Ain't it, Chief? Okay. So they've been having not that good a year. Well, not that good. I'm lying. Looks pretty good. Like if we look at... Okay, no, they're doing fucking fantastic. Alright, is there anything else of value here? Alright. Look, natural gas just makes sense in the US and in Canada too. We have like so much fucking production. Like whenever there's issues in exporting it, the price like comes so fucking low. It comes in the negative sometime in some places. So should probably keep that. Should probably put it in oil. Boom, 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 boom. Choose another folder. Should just do that. Go. Okay. We have fun. Okay. Okay. Back to memes. Alright. So that's another guy that is pro AI, I guess. Well, there is still a certain amount of A and Bs. What do we mean? So A means the patch otters. Okay, patch otters with little experience. B is driver maintainer, who knows the driver but nothing else. And C is the core maintainer of the infrastructure. Okay, while there are still a certain amount of A and Bs, yo Maple, I need some advice from a pro. Well, it depends a pro in what, but ask away. If we're talking about making bad decisions, I'm your guy. I can help you avoid all of them now. Ask away, brother. One thing that you can always expect from me is to say when I don't know a thing. That's what I can guarantee you. A large amount of media patches come from experienced media driver developer with a reasonable expertise at the core, as several vendors opt to hire open source development companies. For A, current Sashiko report could look scary, as false positive might end up causing confusion. I have a router, I install custom operating system, open WRT, it has 2 buttons. What should I make the 2 button do? Well, I guess one could be a restart button. That's probably an important thing. And like, I don't know what your router will be used for, but my second button would be WPS. But like, what tools still use this nowadays? I guess if you have a printer. But yeah, like a clean way to reboot and a WPS. But again, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with it. Like, if you're fucking with it often, like a button to send a report somewhere would be fun. We tried to reach a consensus with regard to CC the author. About half of the comments from people who participated at the last Media Summit think it was okay to CC the author at Sashiko reviews, provided we add a disclaimer notice at the top of the email body. The other half think otherwise, yet there was a consensus to enable Sashiko for a couple of kernel release to see how it goes. It's a router, it routes. I get that, retard, but like, if it's for your grandma, it's a thing. If it's for you and you fuck around with it often, it's another thing. Or if it's for like someone else, like it always depends. You're a nice memer, okay? You're a nice memer. So we opted to start without CC the author and place review on a separate opt-in mailing list, while also adding them to our patchwork instance as well. Yes, that is true. Also, V4L2 and DVB core are responsible to receive system calls, passing them to the driver only after checking for abuses. So most of the issues there are things like use after free, error handling logic, and lack of resource deallocation, which is only an issue in practice for USB drivers. There are still a fair amount of such bugs, which is where Sashiko and Static Analyzer can help more. That's one reason why I do think media needs to own custom prompts. Need its own custom prompt. Sysbot issues are usually related to V4L core. We don't get many such report, probably because Video for Linux 2 core doesn't have much change those days. Okay. Reading this thread, I've come to the conclusion that different systems have different results from Sashiko. Sashiko gets confused with some of the tracing logic, but that's because tracing does some hack to keep the overhead down. It's where live text updates started. It reports the issue sometimes that there are not a problem due to the way the code was designed. But I fortunately know of these areas and can easily see when Sashiko fails over it. Hence, these false positives do not waste my time, as I'm already aware of them. I do take a deeper look to make sure that it's not reporting something similar that may truly be a bug. But I can see where this could cause a bit more problems with a different subsystem. Hence, I don't believe there should be a one-size-fits-all for the entire kernel, but do as we have been doing and have everything be opt-in by subsystem. But that also means that if you contribute to a subsystem, you need to follow their rules. If you don't want to deal with AI, don't contribute to a subsystem that has it set up where you will receive an email from AI if you submit to it. Do we need to add a flag to the maintainer file that states which subsystem uses AI? Bro, that looks fucking AIDS. Do we have an answer from Linus somewhere about this? I had a submitter up to V14 on a new series over the weekend since they were iterating Shishiko feedback. That's probably too complicated. Some people will want submitters to do things like ask submitters to address Shishiko reviews before the maintainer will look at it. Other subsystem might make use of Shishiko reviews or whatever, but not make it a requirement for submitters to do so. That's fair. We should state that Shishiko is sometimes wrong. A submitter to me asked what they should do about Shishiko feedback. They didn't understand, and after reading the Shishiko review, I told them to ignore it. Is it too complicated? Do you mean it's too complicated if one subsystem says resolve all Shishiko feedback you receive and another say you may ignore it? We probably don't want maintainers to require resolving all Shishiko reviews, but at least respond to them where I don't know and I think this review is wrong are legitimate responses. It is basically saying I want to speak to a person when trudging through the phone. Automating AI teleprompter. It's obviously mine. I would then install third party for someone else. Also no WPS, we hate WPS, okay. Well then I would like automate the sending of a report for the second button. But yes, the first one would be a restart. Or if a restart is useless, a clear cache or something. The universal unfuck button, okay? Like, I think that Steven is kind of lost a bit. Like, the complicated part is that they will have to like define everything. Kaboom button, yes. This message will auto-destruct in 5 minutes. I mean that use AI covers a huge spectrum of thing. Yep. Shishiko is a potential and potential requirements for submitter to interact with it. It's just one example of LLM usage. People were complaining very strongly about such requirement as well in the thread, especially given its propensity for warning about pre-existing issue. I was thinking of just having 2 options, each with various level. Option 1, if AI is allowed to write algorithm, I mean something that is enough to be copyrightable. And option 2, if AI will be reviewing the code you send. Yeah, the second is for those who are completely anti-AI, wants to avoid any communication to AI. But then again, do we really care? No, you don't. Like, I don't understand the need for that. Like, maybe they could describe, like, if there are special rules. Like, if you have an automated thing, but we don't have that for Sysbot, no? Like, if I go into maintainer, will I find that they're, like, saying, hey, holy shit, they updated this shit. Nah, they updated it. My life's going to be complicated now. like if I... Let's like go somewhere. Yeah, like there's no, what they're going for is retarded. It was also mentioned that pre-existing error should be separated. It shouldn't be bother patch submitter with them. There's a whole range of things we could mean when we talk about AI review things. Are we expecting the contributors to deal with some specific tools? Will other people happen to use LLMs with or without disclosure that they're doing so? Then so somehow will be the voice of reason. Come in, Ted. Oh, you know shit is fucked when your favorite FS maker is the voice of reason. These people are all delusional schizophrenic. But somehow, on this, he's going to be right. Assume that we're talking about a case where the contributor is given an AI-generated review, e.g. an email from Sashiko. The complaints here have fallen into two categories. One, sometimes review contains false positive, and two, the fact that an AI bot is criticizing a submitter's code, even if it is true, somehow demeans the humanity of the patch submitter. In the case one, those are bugs. And we should work to try and improve the kernel review prompts. Roman has recently checked in changes to reduce false positive in the media subsystem, and I've reported a bug on false positive when reviewing the ext4 contribution, which has since been fixed. Cool. In case 2, I don't have a lot of sympathy, especially if the solution is demanding that the maintainer rephrase the Sashiko report so it's coming from a human being instead of an AI bot. If we're talking about other people happening to use LLMs, presumably for code review, I'm not sure we need to report that. After all, copyright can't be implicated if the LLM is pointing out a problem in the pre-existing code or in a patch, since LLM-generated code isn't going to end up the sources. In the sources? Cloudflare DNS64. Wrong window. Nice research. At least it wasn't porn. Oh my. If we're talking about other people, presumably. After all, copyright can be implicated if the LLM is pointing out a problem in pre-existing code or in a patch, since LLM-generated code isn't going to end up in the sources. And if someone else is running a review on their code, why should the contributors care if it wasn't disclosed? That's fair. I should suppose if the NSA or GCHQ runs a LLM review that finds that some bash would introduce a 0-day bug, if they choose not to disclose it, that would be sad. That's probably happening already, whether we want it to happen or not, and there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, that's a little conspiratorial. What the fuck does he mean by GCHQ? It's the UK equivalent. Oh, Laurent will be back. I wouldn't assume that to be honest. Well, the fuck would you assume, Mark? I think the issue is that people had there was more that the reports are spurious and generally low quality. Having to continually respond to whatever is being thrown out before anyone will even consider looking at your stuff doesn't exactly feel great. Well, fucking hell. Like that's a retarded critique because they're trying to improve the quality, one, and two, the quality has already been proven to be pretty fucking great, at least better than a human. So, yes, if your maintainer wants you to address things, and it's saving the maintainer time that you address these things, that's okay. This seems to affect different areas of code and to different degrees. Some things the various bot seems to struggle more with. The non-deterministic aspect of things doesn't help either. Like, fuck, this is such a retarded view. Like, I think here is the thing where like he's a maintainer of what? Who the fuck is this guy? KVM. Okay, fuck you. So if bro, he's the maintainer of KVM. Okay, if there's a complicated thing in this earth, it's KVM. So I'm sorry, I have no care in the world for like, oh my god, it might be complicated to answer it. We discussed this at length in Linux Media. There were proposals for a custom header telling patch authors that in case they think a flagged issue may be incorrect, they should reach to an experienced reviewer or just ignore it. The wording went through multiple iterations. The problem there is that by definition, a junior, unexperienced developer will have more trouble determining if the feedback is correct or not. But is that better than no feedback? Like this assumes that the feedback is bad. Then add to the other. When in doubt, just say I don't know. But for obvious issues like error patches not covered, the submitter should be fixing them and sending a new version without bothering the maintainer. Yep. Like I feel that it's kind of dumb because we would say, like if your code doesn't have a minimum quality and you send it to the maintainer has kind of a right to tell you that you're a retard. So why are we like putting something that is able to read the code and then tell you if it is up to that quality? And because that thing might do a mistake sometime, we're like, it's worse than the Holocaust. Like, what the fuck are we doing? There is a custom prompt for tracing. Probably if you run Sashiko without it, it would get more false positive. It is not like that on static analyzer like already. Smash, parsers, Coxnell. There's no space for per subsystem adjustment. Now with LLM, each subsystem have a custom prompts. Also, when LLM parse a C file, it can pick some things from the documentation on it. Okay, talking about the maintainer file, I don't think this would help. Also, from my point of view, Sashiko is not different from any other new CI tool. Which one enables it? People will discover lots of problem and start fixing it. It can take quite some time to adjust. On media, we had this when we started using Jenkins. I think that's a good fucking argument. Where now with another CI via GitLab action for some time, the project started on Jan 2024. I can't remember when we started deploying it, but it was more than a year ago. Still, we're adjusting it to try to reduce false positive and inconsistencies. For instance, last week we added a fix where CI internal problems was ending making patches on patchwork checks as error. I think the specific case of Sashiko, we need to adjust it to the media subsystem as it currently is, running without any hints about what is relevant to us and what are false positive. Yeah, this is like 100% what the fuck we want. By the way, Sashiko gained the first set of adjustment for media today. Nicola, another defender of destroying AI. Just wanted to clarify. Said this way, it sounds terribly bad and quite off to me. Relying on a user space being nice is not what we want to do or aim to do. Linux media is a framework base, meaning the framework. Okay, we read that already yesterday. I can't speak for all contributors, but certainly not aware of anyone in the media subsystem considering that issue of the kernel size are fine because the user space will normally size the API in certain ways. I hope that no kernel subsystem handles security by relying on the user space to never be adversarial. Well, I don't know. All right, give me a moment, I'll be back. Go on with our fucking reading. IME flagging areas of the code for consideration. What the fuck this? In my experience, okay. In my experience, flagging areas of the code for consideration is much more reliably useful than specific content of what's generated. It helps with finding areas to focus on, even if the text has all the problems LLM generated stuff tend to have. Those pointers can make things a lot faster when you're reviewing. There's a real risk that submitters looking at stuff directly will go off in the wrong direction if they're not familiar with the area and trust the output too much. I'm fairly sure I'm seeing the result of that in similar fashion to the things you often see with people sending patches to mindless squash. Things like uninitialized variable warnings. Well, that's just being a retard, no? Probably worth pointing out that the SFC has come in for a huge amount of criticism for how pro-AI people have found the above said. Yes, because it's retarded. Holy shit. Laurent coming back. Why do you think so? As far as I can see, there are many maintainer and contributor with a strong enthusiasm for generating AI reviews. This is the entire guy. Assuming those tools would give a net positive result, isn't that initial mass sizable enough to help maintainers? It could even be argued that starting with enthusiasts will help convince some of the skeptics over time. I'm confused. To be clear, that's not what I'm calling for. I'm asking for contribution to not be forced, for contributors to not be forced to use LLM. I'm not campaigning for the kernel to ban their usage. Well, this is tantamount to the same fucking thing when you want to prevent the sending of a report. I would be surprised if Linus broadly agree with one. I, however, hope, one being the SFC anti-LLM report, I, however, hope that we as a community have enough shared values to listen to everybody. Well, that's... Hi, Laurent. At this moment, there are 36 mailing lists who opted in for delivery email review, for delivering email reviews over email without counting Linux media. In every single case, it was based on maintainer request. In all cases of disagreement between maintainers, I took the conservative side. Okay. This is in less than 4 months since Shashiko's public launch mid-March. Most of the commits are bug fixes for existing issues discovered by Shashiko as a byproduct of reviewing new changes. So arguably, there is a larger set of bugs which were prevented to enter the kernel. So it's fair to say that there's a lot of enthusiasts and a lot of data already, which proves the usefulness of AI code review. If it's not convincing, I'm sorry, but it's unlikely I'll be able to convince you anyway. What a fucking Chad. The reality is that there are multiple actors in the world who are actively using AI for at least the security vulnerability scanning across all Linux kernel codebase, including your changes, and is completely out of our control, our as kernel community. And as we can't ignore these findings completely, how to handle them, it's a separate discussion. So there is a simple no way. So there is simply no way someone who wants to contribute their code to the kernel can pretend to live in a world where AI doesn't exist. So the real choice is more like, do we want to find most of AI discoverable issues before we get merged, or after? Obviously, not all issues are security related, but it doesn't change the point. God damn! What a Chad. Oh, I think I missed this opt-in. Can you add replies to patches sent to Linux trace kernel? Currently, I've been manually looking to see if a patch had a Shashiko review and sending the author a link to the review and told them to please reply to the comments. Note, I have not had anyone tell me that they're against doing so. Okay. May I ask you to raise this question with the other Linux trace kernel maintainers and CC me on the thread, just to make sure everyone is on board. Also, please let me know if Shashiko should reply to the author, and also if it should send the email. If there are no issues found. So far, no disagreement. As much as I dislike this situation, I never pretended to ignore the fact. I think that this is a false dichotomy. I find it odd, at best, that the answer of Google, who has a high financial stake in the AI race with Gemini, is to present usage of a product based on Gemini as an ineluctable solution. And yes, I know that in theory Shashiko could use different models, but I don't think that changed the problem fundamentally. It's so retarded. Where are the AI companies when it comes to addressing the massive underfunding and maintainer burnout problem to help doing the groundwork making the kernel more secure? I hate how, like, there's an ambulance coming in. The ambulance comes in. Like, the people coming out of the ambulance are trying to help. They're trying to bring, like, the person inside of the ambulance. But, like, it's hard because it's tough conditions. And the guy that is the friend of the sick person is just bitching all the time. Bro, stop bitching. You're achieving nothing. This is a moral issue. You're putting morals, ethics into whatever the fuck you think you're doing. This is not part of the kernel. We don't care about this. Oh my god. This person thinks that, like, there's a fucking moral code to this. Linus only cares about how the project ends up technically. He says it. Oh, fucking hell. Ask Roman how many people in Google are supporting the Shashiko project. I believe the answer is 1. Oh no. Don't tell me that fucking Roman is like the, the single fucking... No! Roman is the single Chad. Oh no. Does he have some... Okay, he's a BPF guy. And he's on review for that. If I do this. This is going to be retarded. Oh no. Shashiko is like the only fucking Chad doing this shit. And he's getting shit on. No! Do we have a maintainer list for Shashiko? Oh no. What does the contribution amount look like? Okay, so the only other guy that seems to do a thing is him. Fuck. Ah, no, he's not from Google. Fat rip, folks. Fat fucking rip. Oh no. Okay. Ah. He ulted. It's slightly better than this. Elkin Cruz helped a lot with bringing up the production instance, the initial cloud support, and several important ideas, including early implementation of a multi-stage approach. And there is a number of other Googlers who contributed less directly, but played a very important role in various parts of the project, including providing early feedback, helping with various processes, etc. And by the way, we're hiring. Unfortunately, Google in general is pretty restrictive about being remote, so you have to be in the Bay Area or Zurich. I don't think I've claimed in this mail thread that there are no enthusiasts or that the tools can't be useful. There's no convincing needed on those 2 points. I'm quite sure I said in this mail thread, or if not in a release one on the K-Submit mailing list, I won't ignore a security issue just on the ground it was discovered with an LLM instance. There's no call for putting our heads in the sand. Yes, but you're going to disregard. Fucking hell, you're trying to prevent those reports from getting to people. This is a situation we haven't chosen. Most of us don't like it. This is false. And we have no option but dealing with the fallout. I'm quite outraged that the company making those tools are not being held accountable yet for not seriously trying to limit the damage. But the priorities here and now is to figure out how to what to do without considering that anyone with some sort of ethics has no place in the kernel community. Are you fucking kidding me? This is going to be a fucking sizzle reel that we're going to have. Going to cook his ass. Okay. That seems to be a bit of a false dichotomy to me. We've long known that we can't win if we treat security as a game of whack-a-mole. Keys, Cook, and others have for years spent large amounts of time and energy into securing the kernel by closing classes vulnerabilities. We accepted a second programming language for the kernel development that should make memory-related bugs impossible in the first place. In a less disruptive way, switching from C89 to C11 has enabled features like _free that helps make the codebase safer. Do we need to act on the security issues reported by LLM? For the time being, surely. Is that enough? No way. No one said that. For fuck's sake. It's even more important today than it used to be to make whole classes of bugs impossible in the first place. The good news for people interested in development is that there's a lot of work to be done all across the kernel. Touting AI reviews as a solution to a security problem LLM generated in the first place without massively investing in kernel hardening is, in my opinion, the real putting our head in the sand here. That's fucking retarded. The problems existed with or without AI. AI is just finding them. What a fucking retard. There's no way someone is that stupid. I must be misreading this. Touting AI reviews as a solution to a security problems that LLM generated in the first place without massively investing in kernel hardening is my option to the real putting our head in the sand here. Like, this is retarded. Okay, Steven, please save us. We said the two are mutually exclusive. I believe there is still a large effort in hardening the kernel. AI reviews are totally agnostic to that effort. Roman said the LFS memory management at BPF that he's the only one working on Shashiko at Google. Yes, Google is investing billions, if not trillions of dollars into AI, but that has nothing to do with the Linux kernel. Roman has simply tapped into that effort to allow the Linux kernel to take advantage of that investment. It really sounds like you want companies to move efforts from AI into Linux kernel hardening. If Google did that, all it would do is move Roman from working on Shashiko to working on hardening the kernel. I think Roman is doing a hell of a lot more for the Linux kernel by staying with Shashiko. Holy shit! What a fucking Chad. I certainly hope so. You're a fucking retard. As you said, it's not mutually exclusive. I'm sure Google has other kernel developers than Roman. Okay. Happy that you're here, even if you don't have audio. I'm going to fucking kill myself. Yes, but they are focused on everything AI and not the Linux kernel. It's the main reason I left Google. Holy shit! Steven has fucking principle? I'm sorry, but did we... Is Laurent even a fucking guy that does shit, or is he just bitching? Because we saw that he has like a company, but is he a maintainer? Because if not, he can go kill himself. Okay, no, that's a bit rude, but... Okay, he is. He is a maintainer for some media things. Okay, okay. I was about to fucking blow a bomb. Oh man. Ted is coming in. Ted was triggered. You read the Rust thing? The guy gave flowers to Rust. And Ted is in with the Glock. Okay, he's going to shoot up the fucking school. That is lit. He's ready. Trigger happy. Let's go. Google has contributed to various kernel aid and hardening effort, considering the work of Keith Cook and Jan Horn, which and while I have my difference with Sysbot and OSS Fuzz Team, those are also security-related projects that have helped improve the open source ecosystem. And earlier this year, the number of companies, including Anthropic, Amazon Web Service, GitHub, Google DeepMind, Microsoft, and OpenAI, contributed a total of $12.5 million to open source security foundation based. Could all of these companies contributed more? Perhaps, especially given how much the entire tech industry has invested in building new data centers, but it's always been a part of the open source model that companies are free to choose how much and in what areas they will contribute dollars or engineer time. In practice, the stone soup has worked pretty well over the past few decades, even if we wish that Facebook has invested more of their profit from their social media empire to Linux development, or Amazon or Microsoft invested more of their profit from their various line of business towards free and open source project, or if Netflix had contributed more of Brendan Gregg's time towards improving toolings around BPF. Personally, I'm much happier and grateful for the amount of time and effort we've got from Brendan Gregg and or Omar Sadoval on... Am I retarded? Dragon Chain? Okay. As opposed to stamping my feet and asking, why didn't their company contribute more? It's not clear to me that the SFC document is particularly applicable for the use of LLM beyond the use case of generating code, which is contributed to FOSS project. Things get a lot more complicated when considering the use of LLM to A. Review code, B. Automate the analysis of a bug report or stack trace, or C. Automate backporting a patch to LTS kernel. Consider the first recommendation. The FOSS community should support, not just tolerate, those who outright reject LLM Gen AI system. If someone rejects LLM Gen AI system and the LTS kernel contain patches which are automated backported and they object, are we bound to forswear the use of automated backport technology? What if someone reports a bug with a kernel stack trace and someone uses an LLM agent to analyze their bug report and find a fix? What does it mean to support someone who outright reject the use of LLM Gen AI system in that case? As a maintainer, I don't believe I should be forced to rephrase Sashiko report just because a patch author outright rejects LLM. For that matter, I don't believe I'm obligated to accept patches from someone who forces me to do extra work because they refuse to look at a Sashiko review. How do we balance the need and time of the maintainers with patch authors? I don't think it's obvious that we must bend over backwards to oblige the needs of all patch authors. Regards. Goddamn! What a fucking beast. Comment. Agreed, the document there is about AI-generated code, not about review patch. As maintainer, I won't be doing extra work repeating reviews from LLM or from any other bot. If the patch is not okay and there is a report already explaining why, I would simply tag the patch as change needed on patchwork, letting the patchwork bot inform the author about the status change without any further explanation. As an author, if I submit a patch, I have the right to receive all reviews, either done by a human or by a bot. This shouldn't be something that an email policy should be restricting. I don't care if a bot uses LLM or not. A review is a review. If it's right, my duty is, as an author, is to fix the code. If the review turns out to be wrong, I have the right to argue against it. Finding the right balance is indeed tricky. But Linux should come first. As an expansion, AI is clearly a useful tool. Maintainer should use it wisely. On my view, a good balance would be if Sashiko would have support in the future for an opt-out mechanism, replacing the reply to author email policy from blah blah. The rationale is that it should not be up to the maintainer to decide that author will be explicitly excluded from patch review. With an opt-out mechanism, author can be warned that the opt-out interface that maintainer may still to use Sashiko review if they wish. Okay, I get it, but here you're still giving more work to the maintainer, because if the review from the AI is valid, then the maintainer will just say, bro, look at the AI retard. See, the above is my view. Other media developers have different views. That is why we agreed to start receiving Shishko review at the media-ci@linuxtv.org with reply to author disable for Linux media. In a narrow construction, possibly, but broadly... Okay, that's someone else that we haven't seen yet. In a narrow construction, possibly, but broadly, it seems to be a charter for the right of people to ignore AI absolutely, and how they should interact with people who uses it. That does have applicability to AI reviews, yes, but in a bad way. I think it's simpler than that. The contributor doesn't get to approve the tool the maintainer uses to assess and apply patches. If there's an AI in there and the contributor is an AI Luddite, then the patch doesn't get applied. I.e., your right to ignore AI stops when it infringe others' right to use it. I'm confused about that phrasing, but it's all good. 47 to go. And by the way, like this is after reading all of this, this is so fucking simple. This is a non-issue. Like we're talking about, we push a patch, we have a bot that is free, okay? Free, that will look at the patch and will send an email to the maintainer. And what they're debating about is how it should be sent. Like, should it by default be sent to the maintainer, to like a separate mailing list, or should it be sent directly to the patch author? So that's like a fair debate. But the idea that you can avoid all of this and have a right to not like ever get like any kind of feedback from this, like this is retarded. This is just another tool. I have the right to not have my fucking code be fuzzed, okay? You're not going to put some fucking random string into my code. This is digital rape. What the fuck? That is my understanding too. I think the industry broadly defines generative AI as LLM-based tool that generate content traditionally produced by human. I think this applies to reviews. It does not mean that one has to agree with the SFC recommendation, of course. I don't think anyone introduced any maintainer to stop using the tool to assess patches. Instructed any maintainer, okay. On a side note, I find the formulation contributor is an AI Luddite gets close to an automated attack. I assume it wasn't your intention, given how heated this topic is. Focusing on people's action instead of their nature could help making the discussion more productive, if it's possible on a mailing list. Bro, you are the one bringing the heat all the time. You are the unmitigated idiot that is like, you need to put money, big business bad. Like, you are the one doing this. Holy. Well, AI reply to patches were the discussion. This is a part of the maintainer assessment, at least if Sashiko replies with a problem to SCSI patches, I ignore the patch until the submitter either fixes the issue or explain why it's wrong. It's a common, it's common and neutral dictionary term to mean that someone is opposed to change. Based. Fuck you, you don't know what the word Luddite means. James James coming in with the heat. If we avoid all word which originally had negative origin because the origin might cause offense to some, you'll find a long list of everyday words. Ah no! Although I personally would love to support banning the word dude in Silicon Valley on the grounds of the original negative connotation. Dude. Based. It was a conjunction of is, that is, the formulation that triggered me. And before anyone sends me memes involving Bill Clinton, please don't. What? What the fuck is going on? It put people in boxes, and that doesn't help the discussion. Well, you're doing it, bro. You're saying that, like, you're literally saying that some people are like the henchmen of the big evil billionaire class. This is, like, doesn't this guy understand what the fuck he's saying? Like, when you're saying these businesses are fucking us over and we're the one paying the price, and you're arguing for that, like, that's the thing that you're saying. You're essentially saying you're a fucking retard. You're arguing for the destruction of my people. Fuck you. Like, I don't know how to deal with that. Like, you can discuss technical things, and these are done in a completely amoral way. But what he chooses to do, what Laurent chooses to do time and time again, is to bring on some moral thing or ethical thing and argue about that. But when you're talking about morals and ethical things, you're necessarily painting the other person in an immoral light. You're saying, see the light, because right now you're being a bad person. Like, this is by definition what this is. Like, there is no way to debate something like abortion and to come out being like, well, agree to disagree. This is impossible because it's a moral quandary. Like, it's a moral issue. So when he does the same thing with AI, where he's like, well, the big business are fucking us over. They're raping us. And you seem to be okay with it. You're making an attack. And these people being so fucking kind in how they answer, for you being too retarded to know that a job is a job. I don't know how to... I don't understand it. And I don't know, like, most people have this fucking brain broke where they seem to think that, like, everything has to be the most morally pure thing, and if it's attached to something like slightly immoral or slightly dubious, it means that this thing is also infected. Like, this is fucking unhinged. The system has rules. These rules exist because of our government. If you have an issue, change the government. Don't change everything else because you don't like how the game is played. If you don't like that the bishop goes diagonally in chess, try to fucking change the rule. Don't go on a fucking match and be like, can we shake hands that the bishop shouldn't go diagonally? Like, don't do that. Change the tournament rule, you dumbass. Okay, anyway. I think it's a bit of an extreme example that does not reflect the rationale of the SFC recommendation. Note recommendation 3, which state, FOSH project should not shun contributors who chooses to use LLM Gen AI system. I hold personal opinion on what I consider is or isn't ethical in that context. Like, this already is retarded. Just that sentence is retarded. You live in the system. The rules are what can contain, like, ethical thing and moral. What is fucking hell? I don't know how to deal with this. And I also understand that ethical principles have a personal dimension. I don't know how to deal. Fuck. I don't know how I'm going to explain this, because I just know I'm going to fucking lose half of my fucking sub if I start yapping about this. But we will fucking fight on that ground, okay? We will fight. Within the boundaries of the rule of our community, people should be entitled to have different opinions. I don't think anyone is seriously trying to force the whole kernel community to ban usage of generative AI. Well, you are saying that someone can essentially have the right to never touch anything done by AI. That's retarded. Believing in chance to complete success would be a bit foolish at time. Not even the people having the most extreme moral compass pointing towards that direction. Like, you're just lost if you think there's morals in there. My interpretation, which conveniently matches my opinion. I'll fucking kill myself. He's such a Redditor. Is that developers should not be forced to directly use generative AI and should not be forced to process unfiltered outputs of those tools. Okay, fuck you. What does this translate in practice? I will need to sleep over it for a few nights and formulate it clearly. You cannot, because it's retarded. I know that I, along with numerous people, vague, appeal to a group of people that doesn't exist. You're the only one fighting. I have a strong negative feeling, if forced to justify myself against an unchecked output of an LLM review bot or a substantial time, or to review patches where the submitter is clearly not invested a substantial time in making the contribution as good as they can. When this happens in human reviewer or developer, they lose trust point and end up being ignored. I don't want to be forced to hold an LLM in higher regard than that. You just don't believe in AI, that's all. If you use generative AI to detect issues, find an actionable comments after a carefully verification and tell me why you find it actionable. I will treat it as a review from Ted So. Why would one need to rewrite the fucking thing? Bro, chill. I may think your moral compass isn't tuned as mine, but I still hold you in our regard despite difference in position. Again, he's doing the thing. He's saying you're a bad person, but it's okay. Like, this is retarded. I certainly wouldn't ignore a serious scrutiny issue. You would report in that way. If you start letting obvious false positive through to your filter, or significantly more false positive, then my trust in your reviews and skill as a maintainer will diminish over time. The same would apply if you started rambling nonsense on your own. Occasional mistake will likely have little impact, as we all make mistakes, especially if you acknowledge such mistake. What this does not mean to me is creating an environment where we pretend those technology don't exist. The put your head in the sand comments from Linus elsewhere in this thread is a bit of a mischaracterization. To his defense, discussion on this topic and the kernel mailing list have been quite heated and prone to mischaracterization. You're the one doing it. I have talked with multiple people across the whole spectrum, from neutral to very negative opinion about generating AI. Well, that's not across the whole spectrum, but it's okay. One thing that struck me is how a large number of those people feel they're not allowed to express any opinion that is not strongly pro-AI. Like, this guy is making movies. What the fuck am I supposed to say? Maybe listening to each other could be the good first step towards better understanding. Bro, the whole fucking thread, is people listening and yapping about this. Why are you making this as if no one was talking? I hope we as a community share enough common values to consider it important for everybody to feel heard. On a side note, I have submitted my BOF proposal. What do we mean about that? we mean by BOF?
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. Today's discussion, and I think it's when we mean discussion, is really a group discussion. It's about open source and AI. It's AI.
Fuck. Birds of Feather is a framework considering a semi-informal discussion session at a conference where participants with shared interests come together to discuss. Oh, okay. So it's just a fucking yap fest. Okay, cool. I have submitted my BOF proposal on this topic for the OSS Europe conference, quite ironically, in the AI track. The goal is to give place for people who feel this community only listens to pro-AI voice and rejects all other opinion. Like, you're making this fucking story. I don't know if it will be accepted. Thank you! Thank you for making this fucking movie in your brain. I don't think I've called for that. What I believe is that the triage of LLM reviews should not be forced onto contributors. Well, then it is for the maintainer, you retard. Flipping the argument, should contributor be obligated to do extra work to make them feel diminished? That makes them feel diminished as human? You're a retard if you think that. Holy shit. It's a tool. It's a tool. When my code doesn't compile, I don't feel like a subhuman. What the fuck? I'm talking here about justifying themselves against LLM argument that have not been analyzed by the maintainer first. Like, this is a tool! Does the above bring some clarification to this question, or at least useful? You're retarded. No one gets it, Lauren. I'm not sure I understand here. Do you say you have moral issues if you should read unchecked LLM output? Or is it just that you find noise/signal ratio too bad with LLM output? So you find it a waste of your time and thus feel broadly if you were forced to waste this time or something else. Frankly, so far, I see the issue with LLM reviews similarly as a dilemma we used to have with checkpath. It was finding some sensible issues, but often the suggestions were also misleading, so some people just found it a waste of time and ignore it. Other people didn't accept the patches if it didn't pass checkpath. That's also a good fucking thing. Let's quote this. I guess nobody can really force contributors to read LLM reviews, but what does this fucking mean? On the other end, okay. But on the other end, if you see LLM review keep finding real issues in the work of some of your contributors, then you as a maintainer have to go and filter them for the contributor instead of the contributor doing this work on their own, then you naturally reduce the priority of such contributors because it is more work for you as a maintainer to deal with them. You write here about feeling diminished or justifying themselves, and I'm not sure I get it. If you get complaints from some CI running checkpath, or say a coverty which is bogus or perhaps correct, do you also feel diminished or needing to justify? I just don't see how LLMs are different here. And just to be sure, I'm genuinely trying to understand your position, because so far, I don't understand it. For example, when I get Shashiko feedback for my pitches, I just ignore the comments I find bogus and address those that I find to the point in the next revision. If I see Shashiko found something fundamental, I'll also reply to the thread to notify human reviewers that I'll have to do a larger rewrite so they don't have to waste human time with reviewing this version of the patches. This is so fucking long. I'm gonna write a fucking essay. Okay, Lauren. I feel that justifying myself against generative AI hallucinations that are blindly trusted by maintainer to make me makes me feel diminished as a human. Ah! Bah! No later than yesterday, a friend of mine pointed to me to a mail thread where Shashiko referenced the code that has never existed in the kernel, and the maintainer blindly trusted the comment and asked the patch author to fix that issue, seemingly doubling down when told the code didn't exist. Depending on one's belief, this can be easily brushed off, but such incident can easily make you question your value in the community, where maintainer would, by default, trust Shashiko over experienced developers. Well, if it's 90% correct, yes. Yes, if you just say, like, it would have been good if he put a link, because if we had a link, we could see what truly happened. And what I'm expecting it to happen here would probably be something like, the maintainer be like, hey, have you looked at this? And the person is like, it's not an issue. And the maintainer be like, the fuck do you mean it's not an issue? There's 16 issues. You haven't changed shit. Explain. And then the other guy is like, oh, so they're referencing code that never existed in the kernel. Ah, okay, approved. Is it that complicated? Oh my god. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I understand the problem that leads to the next question though. What will happen when developers will have to pay for those tools? We'll address it then. We're not there. Will people who don't want to pay OpenAI, Anthropic, or any smaller company with dubious ethic be treated as second class kernel contributors and be deprioritized? For now, nobody is paying for Shashiko. That's all that we're talking about here. If you're talking about AI, there's homegrown AI solutions. Okay? Is that okay with you? No, I don't get the same feeling. This is due to multiple factors. One of them is due to the more deterministic nature of those tools. I know a build failure from a zero-day bot is a build failure. I know what warning from checkpat can be ignored in a given subsystem. I know that I can reply to some reported issues saying they're false positive and won't be asked for full justification. I know that the tool will not deploy language aimed at convincing me to accept bogus findings. It's an AI. It's a robot trying to put into words what it found. I know what patterns of false positive to expect. More importantly, I know maintainers will not blindly side with the tools against me by default. Bro, this is so lost. Fuck me. Another factor that of course plays here is I'm not having the same kind of ethical concern regarding static analyzer or build bots. This is all that matters, okay? This is all that matters to them. That shows though the way you're asking the question. I really appreciate it. Some maintainers have said they expect others to justify themselves for all false positive. Fair. To be honest, I expect that some others are already gaming all this by using generative AI to write a convincing explanation to dismiss comments as false positive. Even when they're not. Are you fucking kidding me? and I don't expect most maintainer would notice. Conspiracy. We can definitely do maintainer education if you point to me or the TAB. Fuck. I don't know what tab mean. Or the tab tread. At. Broad, no. Fuck, I don't know. Sashiko as a tool can absolutely get things wrong, so as maintainer, we need to accept a reasoned answer that shows the review is wrong. I've shared this with the person who reported the issue to me, as I don't know if they're comfortable discussing it publicly. Bro. I suggest to report these issues to just GitHub issue in the Sashiko repository, or as an email to the Sashiko mailing list, or email me privately. Or the best, send me a pull request with a fix. It's not always addressable, but in many cases it is. But obviously, it's not going to be fixed if it's hidden knowledge. True. I saw the same more than once in the past, where humans did the same about assuming the previous implementation of some code. As already pointed on this thread, the author is the one that has more time to dedicate to his proposed changes. A simple reply to Sashiko's email telling that the reference code there was an hallucination would be enough for the maintainer to ignore such a particular issue. I like to read the Sashiko review and look for issues with it. This is why I want the email to the mailing list. It's so much easier to reply to the Sashiko review in an email and point out where it's just wrong and point out what I want the author of the patch to fix. I've been using the copy icon to paste the review in the email back to the author. This looks to me as an issue with a maintainer needed to be educated about AI tooling. Just like I get AI slop and I need to tell people the AI is wrong, we need to look at maintainers to keep them from getting lazy and just accepting what the AI review says. Okay, the star, Roman, the paste from copy icon appears to remove the break line. This may not can it be fixed? Of course. Okay. I've created the issue to track. Okay, cool. Putting the responsibility of proving that the issue is real on the maintainer or other reviewer in the subsystem, who would be happy to have that role, would solve this. That's retarded. Holy shit. I just like any bot review. There's no need to justify obvious things, but the way to make okay, we're talking about another thing. Hi, Laurent. Okay, but here the cause of your feelings seems to be more the behavior of the maintainer, not Sashiko review as such. If that's the case, I can totally understand that, but I also think solution isn't ignoring Sashiko or forcing maintainer to filter its output, but rather talking to the maintainer to treat Sashiko output sensibly. And yes, we all need to figure out what works and what does not. That's a serious question, which somehow worries me as well. We're talking about what? The availability of AI. But at the same time, it isn't an immediate problem for Sashiko. That's so far freely available to everybody. And I don't think asking maintainers to filter Sashiko output or outright rejecting dealing with anything LLM related helps this in any way. Okay, understood. I think I've mostly addressed this above. The problem seems to be partly in the area of maintainer behavior and partly finding efficient ways of dealing and mitigating Sashiko false report. I think I share some of the concern, but at the same time, I don't find boycott, as in avoiding a technology, as an efficient way of dealing with the situation. But I understand this is a purely personal choice. I personally would find this annoying, so I don't enforce this in the stuff I maintain, but I guess it's about discussing with maintainers and improving the tooling to find out what works. Possibly, I have personal experience with authors feeding my review comments to AI and pasting me the answer. Okay. Like that's bad. And that's something that you should not trust the author after that. Okay, it's Lauren again. I think it's both. Maintainer education will play a role, I'm sure of that, and I foresee that overloaded maintainer will still be very tempted by to trust Shashiko's review by default, but you can call me pessimistic here. Yes, you are. The other aspect, less related to how maintainer react to the review, is also less related to Shashiko in particular. I think there's a fundamental difference between receiving feedback from a regular statistic analyzer compared to a machine that is made to express itself as a human. The zero-day bot doesn't feel like he's trying to trick me. You're schizophrenic, dude. I would probably have a different feeling if Shashiko provided review in a more machine language. Sure, those are two separate issues. I think it needs to be considered now, though, to avoid being cornered up later. We're talking about money. Fucking hell, this is dumb. This is one topic I wasn't initially planning to bring up. This mail thread has gone into lots of different and not fully expected direction because of you, but okay. How to react to the situation is a personal choice indeed, but the need to react is more of an evidence than a choice for me. I know I would have trouble looking at myself in the mirror in the morning if I normalize founding companies behind those LLMs. What the fuck? Are you okay? It doesn't mean it can't respect someone who has a different opinion. No. Those two things are not compatible. I fucking hate these people who play with morals. You cannot be like, this company is evil, so evil that I'm not going to put money in it. Any of my money won't like touch it. But then be like, but it's your opinion. What? Like, we don't do that with anything else. Like, if someone comes into my house and I'm strongly, like, against killing kids, and this person kills a kid, am I going to be like, it's your opinion? When you're taking these actions, these are like moral statements, ethical statements. Fuck. I'm sure most of us have. Personal favorite of mine, if someone replying to a message where I ask them not to submit AI slop. We're talking about a patch in HTML form with each line of C code starting with a dot character in the reply contain. We're going to address what you write. Keep it short, dignified. Yes, because he's trying a thing. Fucking hell. I discovered shutdown regression on... Did you report it? Did anything happen of it? If so, join the Discord. I want to see it. By the way, hi. How's it going? A patch, and that's only for... Do you have a link to the patch? That sounds like impossible. Normally, if there's like a big level regression, like what you're stating, they won't wait a fucking release. But yeah, I'm going fine. Although I'm reading this slop and it's pretty rough. Pretty rough. What are we gonna do? We're almost done. Only 32 left. Almost. Or you could just end the email with I'm a bot. Beast. I think there's one, I think these one will resolve by themselves as people get used to trusting the tools to a different degree. The mistake, in my opinion, is to see it as a tool while LLM are made to imitate human. If you see it as a limited human that can tirelessly work and verify stuff, you can understand as it will sometimes bring some value in certain area, but not at all. And not at all, or even be negative in other. But just like we've had trolls or people with uneasy personalities in the past on the list that were also doing some work and whom some reader just learned to ignore or correct, here it might become exactly the same. Maybe Shashiko itself will be tuned to speak less confidently to authors so that they don't take everything they say for granted. In my honest opinion, I think that's what it means. In my humble opinion, okay. It's a matter of everyone adapting to a certain degree of trust/mistrust. But I do respect, even if I don't share all of the concern you expressed regarding your belief and or the impact of cost raise. That currently doesn't affect the tool. I'm only speaking for the point above, the possible social impact. Like, it's funny because when he's saying like people with uneasy personality, Ted So is like Ted So is like one of these guys, and he fucking answers right after. Bro. I don't think he answers this one, but it's still funny. Okay. But maintainers should be forced to process the output of those tools because the developers refuse to do that work. If someone refuses to use the unfiltered output of those tools and their code is buggy, I may not have time to cater to these people. In which case, if I see that their code is reliably buggy, and they are refusing to look at the review from the LLM or the zero-day kernel bug or checkpathpl, I reserve the right to just start ignoring patches from those people. That's a great way to put it. I don't believe that triage LLM reviews should be forced onto the maintainers. Remember, the contributors outnumber the maintainers, so forcing more work on the maintainer don't scale. One of the reasons why I was so excited for Shashiko is that it reduces the load on maintainers while improving the quality of the patch's review. Nope, I don't believe I'm obligated to accept contributions from people who feel that way. Based. God damn, my screen is so fucking warm. Indeed. And even if a maintainer has has the time to read carefully every AI comment on every patch, it is an ideal world. It would still be good to have an author read them too, because then the chance of disregarding a true positive is lower. After all, the authors are the ones that have the context of the patch since they just submitted it. That is, they are the best placed one to filter feedback that arrives soon after the patch is sent, AI or not. Of course, mistakes can happen, and there will be instances where confused AI may confuse the author to change the code for the worst. But as long as we consider the result as a net positive, it should be fine. This is the position I gave Roman back then, and when we enabled reply to authors in Shashiko, we did see authors engaging with the reports. That actually saves time for the maintainer and reviewers in some cases. In fact, at least one person asked about running Shashiko or the prompt on their end to get their patches AI clean, to some degree, before sending them to the list. That is good. It is like getting patch lint clean before submitting. True. Whoever asked that is a Chad. Okay. Okay. Lauren. Maintainer, at least some of them, are the one introducing a change in the process here. I feel there's some sort of panic among the part of the kernel maintainers, or maybe such an acute burnout that it justifies anyone with a different opinion being treated as collateral damage. Bro, he's not engaging! Fuck me! Is there no acceptable option besides forcing everyone to swallow the generative AI pill? No option for people with ethics concern to be still considered a part of the kernel community. No option but completely surrender. This guy is fucking unhinged. Surrender and pledging allegiance. This is how I increasingly feel being treated, and I know I'm not alone. Please, let's stop comparing generative AI with zero-day kernel bot or checkpath. It's not a relevant comparison. Yes, it is. Because what we're talking about is the usage of it as a tool. Even if the tools are not the same, a fuzzbuzz is not the same as the zero-day kernel bot and checkpath. But still, they're all tools. I see many people claiming that LLM drastically lowers the review burden. Does it do so only marginally? Is effort to triage review higher than the effort to write review in the first place? Everyone says the opposite. Every fucking maintainer that spoke besides you said the opposite. God damn. There's also an elephant in the room. Besides paying for the token used by Shashiko, I'm sure Google could also afford funding developers and maintainers to perform triage. That's a bit of a different question, but does it feel that the two byproduct of Shashiko useful for Google, or to trick maintainer into forcing contributor to use generative AI and to be seen as helping the community without having to address the core long-term issue of our front-end maintainers? Holy shit, this guy is... All the roads lead to Google being evil. This guy is cooked. What is his brain? You are not obligated to accept my contribution from anyone until Linus forces you. That doesn't mean discriminating contributors based on their belief would be a good idea. Linus comes in. No! Bah! Oh no! What is going to go? Okay. Okay, I think this is the part. Okay, we are looking at not the last, but almost the last. This guy is about to get nuked, okay? You are correct. The AI-generated reports are usually much superior and more flexible. They aren't just syntax lighter or reporting this doesn't build. They actually find real non-trivial problems. Now, I'm not saying that one replaces the other. The zero-day bot finding things that don't even build or boot are great. That's a pretty hard and clear signal. But the AI reports are often a lot better than checkpath reports have been. Those checkpath reports have gone through years of trying to massage them into something that adds more value than pain, and I do think we're there now, but it really requires the effort on the part of the checkpath maintainers, and that's exactly the kind of effort we need for Sashiko and friends. Because no, AI reports are not always great, but neither are human reviews. I see less useful review by humans where I go, did this person just try to get his name in the commit log because that has no useful content? I suspect you haven't used AI for programming. Try it. Try one of the good ones. And I don't mean he means the black. No, I'm joking. And I don't mean use it for the kernel. Use it just for the fun of it. Use it just for the fun of it. Find something you want to do. Just play with it. The open models are getting pretty darn good too. But for a first trial without any real setup, one of the free tiers of the cloud one is certainly easiest way to just kick the tires. Do it with something you find interesting, but not important. Start really small. Start with something you feel you probably wouldn't really waste your time on if it was just by yourself, but where you have enough background knowledge that you can judge the output. It's what I did, because I wanted to judge things based on real use, not on what others say. And sometimes the loudest one do it for marketing reason because they have stock that is tied to it. You might find it enlightening, or at least interesting. My own personal annoyance was how eager to please AI models tend to be, at least. My own personal annoyance was how eager to please AI models tend to be, at least by default. Oh, okay, I get it. How the AI tries to, like, fucking massage things into you. I understand why it happens, and that people like that subservient tone, but at least personally, I was looking more for a critical review of the code, not an AI that has been taught that to say you're entirely right just to please people. That's fair. I've never, okay, not never, but for some years, but not for some years now, that those tools I guess it's said that some tools have technical merit. That's not the point in this or similar conversation. I consider that today there is no ethical justification for the use of generative AI in false development. That's a personal opinion. No, fucking hell. People have a big issue with understanding what an opinion is. It will likely evolve with time, not entirely sure in which direction though, as the industry is hard to predict accurately. Like the fact that that's retarded. The industry should not like... the industry cannot change like a moral judgment. Like if I'm trying to steal man, what the fuck he's saying, that would mean... does he think like the... is the sourcing of the AI the issue here? Is that like all this is? I don't expect everybody to agree, but I'm not trying to change the opinion of the overall kernel community here. Yes, you are. I'm not asking for Sashiko enthusiast maintainer or developer to stop using it. What I'm asking is for the community to recognize there are people with ethical concerns. Well, yes, they're retarded. Listen and try to see if reasonable middle ground exists where some of those concerns could be addressed, because we all seem to like parallels. Here, one that may or may not be better than comparing generative AI to checkpath. There have been conscious objectors, probably for as long as humanity exists. They have been judged and treated differently over time, often harshly. Bro, stop with the fucking victimhood. In several countries today, you can opt for a civilian service instead of being considered a deserter. What? Now I'll let some people reply to the comparison and argue that those people are destroying the fabric of society. Are you fucking kidding me? Churro! Thank you. Thank you, Linus. Thank you. So this is where the discussion ends. As I've mentioned, Linux has never been a social warrior project. If you don't have any technical reason, you don't have reason. You can choose not to use AI, but that's your personal choice. It has absolutely no impact on anybody else, and you should not expect it to have any. Put another way, if you are a vegetarian because you think meat is murder, that's perfectly fine. I know. Greetings, Nigma. We're trashing anti-AI people. Put another way, if you are a vegetarian because you think meat is murder, that's perfectly fine. I know for a fact we have several vegan kernel developers, and I'm sure they have a very varied reason for it. Maybe they just don't like the taste, and maybe they have a social or religious reason for it. Lots of perfectly valid reason, driven by ethics. But they don't expect the rest of the kernel community to become vegetarian because of their personal ethical standpoint, do they? This is absolutely no different. And yes, I feel very strongly about this. Not because I feel strongly about AI per se, but because I have a long history of interacting with the Free Software Foundation. Yes, these fucking assholes. They have their ethical reason too, and they use them as a weapon and as a way to drive away sane people. It's why Linux is not GNU/Linux, and it's why we call it open source instead of free software. Based. So keep your ethics where they belong in your personal life. Don't try to enforce your ethics on others. I'm gonna come. Thank you, Linus. Thank you. After 100 message number 97, sorry. We have Chad Torvald coming in with the biggest D, saying, "You're a retard." Ah! Finish Grandpa being based as always. True! Oh man. Holy shit, reading this is a fucking pain. Let's read a couple more, but I mean, this discussion is fucking done. This guy has been fucking thoroughly cooked. Okay, Lauren is trying to answer, okay? He's trying to make a comeback. He's trying to not commit suicide here. You've got the rest that says, I don't expect everybody to agree. That's not what you're... Like, I'm just going to explain because there seems to be more people than there was before, okay? When you're expressing your morals publicly, you're essentially saying that someone is evil for doing a thing. If you're a vegan and you're starting to say, like, everyone should be a vegan, what you're saying is that everyone who doesn't agree with veganism and isn't a vegan is evil. And the problem is that there are critics that you can make of AI and LLM, but they need to come from a technical standpoint, because this is what matters for the kernel. The moral thing, that's a politics thing. You need to vote to fix that. Like, if you think that LLMs are so immoral that you cannot use any of them, then it's a you issue and you have to live with that issue. Just like the vegan person will not eat any meat, it's a them issue. they cannot force everyone else to not eat meat unless somehow they convince all of them in a political sense. That's all there is to it. So like he's going to try to come back, but going to get fucked. I don't expect everybody to agree. I'm not trying to change the opinion of the overall kernel community here. Well, yes, that's what your message are meant to do. And I'm not asking for such an enthusiast maintainer or developer to stop using it. I think that's relevant. Well, your two things don't work together. You have accepted coding style, inclusive terminology. That commit shows that the community takes ethical issues into consideration. I'll fucking kill myself. If you raise concern about the color red, then it conveys a distinction between it and every other color. I'm going to let you cook because I don't understand what you mean by that, Nigma. Okay, this is retarded because there's a difference. Like, the idea of the language that we use in the kernel is going to be respectful is different from ethical concern. The difference between not being an asshole and ethics exist. And this is what the inclusive terminology is about. It's about no one looking at the code and being like, ooh, that's some shitty wording there. It's not ethics. But hey, that guy is lost. Okay. And I'm not either. CFR Supra. What the fuck does that even fucking mean? See above. Okay. What I'm asking is not to be forced to eat meat. No. No, what you're asking for is that everyone in a restaurant doesn't eat meat. The mail thread has grown long. You may have missed the multiple places where I explained or tried to that I'm not expecting the rest of the community to abide by my personal conviction. Please, someone. Cook him. Cook him! Come on, Lauren. Don't be naive. Pointing out Linux contradiction won't move the conversation forward because you look at the whole picture. His argument and action shows deep concern at the foundation with the foundation's political goals. I'll read your message soon. The US InclusiveNet ethical issue was instrumental to the Linux Foundation marketing and the narration of its largest partner. After all, Linux Foundation tagline is decentralized innovation built on trust, so they need a cheap narrative to make them look trustworthy. On the other hand, legitimizing any of the several AI issues is a great concern for the LF members. That includes companies such as Google, Meta, Microsoft, Anthropic, and they are collectively exposed for trillions of dollars over AI bubble. It's not that you must be pro-AI, but it's that you are not and will be countered or silenced in every influential technical space. But if you're not, who the fuck is that guy? So neither inclusiveness or developer alienation are relevant ethical issue in this list, just political tools or not. Linus faithfully serves the interest of his employer, so no argument. This is fucking beyond retarded. This is conspiracy brain to the max. Either ethical or technical or whatever really counts here whenever its effect could annoy them. I need to start jumping into these fucking mailing lists. what the fuck am I doing with my life? I need to, like, write a fucking essay. I need to come in with my fucking Maple Circuit email address and fucking surrounds these lad. Okay. And if your concern is so firm that you do not even allow reasoning, then it conveys that the color is apparently a concern for everyone, despite it being your own concern. AKA, LLM are apparently a problem even when those who know things are utilizing it intelligently as a tool for practicality, unlike those who don't. I'm not sure if I get what you're saying here, Enigma. I'm very sorry. The frustrating part of this situation is how everyone is arguing for both sides in both ways. Yeah, oh my fucking god. You know what? The tool works, yes. They used debate recently, but it's clear. No worries, okay. On the other hand, it is true that LLMs and derived tools are comprehensive manifestation. Like, this is retarded. Ted, save us. Also, there are multiple ways the LLM can be used, and the question about access discrimination, copyright, etc. are different if what we are talking about is vibe coding versus code review. The original question in this thread was only about Shishiko, which is a code review tool. Making general argument about all LLM use case is not helpful, and the policies that we might have for reviewing or testing code might be very different compared to the vibe coding. For example, copyright concern simply don't apply. Can we please avoid conflating all AI issues? This leads to more heat rather than light. I know general metaphors isn't your strong suit. It's not about general metaphors not being a strong suit, is that I don't know what the framing is for your overall question. So right now, I've been reading over 100 messages from like permanently retarded people that seem to conflate like the moral and political scape of the world with the technical scape of the world. And because of that, they say a bunch of retarded things. So I'm just trying to understand where you're getting at. Like, I understand that if I talk about the issue that is with red, I'm like, just the fact that I'm talking about red raises an issue. So and I think that what you're saying here is, if you're saying that red is an issue and you don't even allow argumentation about it, it means that it's an issue big enough for everyone. Like, it's a moral issue. But this part doesn't make sense with what I just said. So fuck, I don't know. But hey, it doesn't really matter. I don't think there's much disagreement on all that. I'm not aware of anyone trying to get the kernel to adopt no AI policy. Fucking hell, these guys are conspiracy people. Alright, there's an example. A dumbass can use a wrench to harm themselves or others, but plumbers use them practically within their work. Oh, okay. So if you're talking about that, there's no doubt that the AI is good for the Linux kernel. So like, all of the arguments that the AI is like bad or not optimal or doesn't help, it's retarded because it's better than other tools that existed and that like the kernel pushed through to work more with. So like checkpath, am I retarded here? Is like an example of that being something that was worked with a lot, that was shit at the start, and that became better. Checkpatch, right? So if the quality of checkpath and the work needed to be done by checkpath in order to make it useful was bigger than what is needed for the kernel to adopt AI review bots, then there's no arguing here. It's preferable to have AI, right? If we're saying when we started checkpath, the value of checkpath, okay, maybe that's the value of checkpath is like this, and the value of AI right now with like little, well, AI review bots with little change to it is already a little bit higher. Or like Sashiko? Sashiko. Like, if this is higher, there's no reason why we shouldn't invest time in the AI in order to make it better, and there's no reason why we shouldn't have the AI implemented in as much space as possible. Indeed, though I have no say in morals because I am a logical mind, so my statement may not work in that realm. Okay, so here I will go above here. So when we're talking about the Linux kernel, the only thing that we think about is the technical realm, right? We don't talk about the moral realm, because the moral realm is something that you fix within your politics, within things that are outside of the control of the Linux kernel. So unless we're talking about the LLM directly doing a genocide, which they're not, there's no reason to include morals, because they don't affect negatively in any way the kernel. I have personally tried to experiment with local LLMs, especially creating some because they're good at blending inputs into with outputs. Good. All right, I think I'm done with reading this. Like I feel like I'm fucking wasting my brain cells reading the email. I personally have tried experiment. Okay. For example, question about a specific functionality within source, specific source documentation towards that functionality. Yeah, that's fair. Like, AI is good. It does its job. Okay, I'm doing all of that research to fucking synthesize all of this. I don't know. Do I want to do this today? I'm fucking dead. Because this is going to be part of the featured thing. I will need to find a way to, like, express this in a kind, not rude way. Which helps the world journey. Truth anywhere. Yeah. Like, I think we agree, like, when opposing AI is kind of a retarded thing. You're just opposing a tool. So the only argument that remains is because they don't have arguments on technical shit, they only have to rely on morals. But yes, AI is cool. I've tried, like, working with AI for code, and it works pretty fucking well. And reviewing code is even better. Okay, I think I'll go eat, I'll go chill. This has triggered me a little bit. And tomorrow we'll write something convincing. Alright, it was fun to be with y'all. I love you all. Bye-bye.